Good morning, brethren.
Good morning.
I have a short clip for you today. We'll see whether we'll keep it as an exhortation or turn it into a short clip for our short clips channel on YouTube. I would like to demonstrate to you or show you a demonstration of the mind, of the image of the beast. Now, I'm not trying to insult anybody because I'm going to show you an exchange between Bill O'Reilly and Kirsten Powers. I like Kirsten Powers. Out of all the liberals that I see on TV, I always thought that she had the most decency about her. You know, I never saw her really hate anybody, or she seemed to be the most reasonable of all of them. Well, you need to see the spirit on her, and this is not to insult Kirsten, brother. We're never into insults. We're into spiritual discernment. The Bible talks about the beast, which is a mind. It's a bestial mind, and it talks about an image of the beast, which is the person that reflects the intentions and the thoughts and the spirit of that mind. Okay. The image of the beast, it's nothing, the book of Revelation is not a big mystery when you understand that it's talking about people and that the minds and the spirit that's behind people, it becomes very, very clear. The issue is President Obama's quote-unquote guidelines for schools across the country. First of all, the schools are supposed to be ruled by local school districts, not even from a centralized state, but by localized school districts. The federal government has no business in the local school to start with. And the way they got in there is the way that they've got into every place they're not supposed to be. And it's not just Obama, it's going back years, is with money. They take tax money from all of the people and use it to coerce the states. And we actually see the same thing happening amongst unions. There's one of the issues in the world today, or in the country today, over unions, is whether or not they have a right to take money from their union members in the form of dues and use it to support political candidates that their constituents do not believe in. It's the same principle of the beast mind, of the bestial mind, that worms its way into positions of power and then takes advantage of and uses the single common man to oppress the common man. It's the state of mind of the fallen creation. So Kirsten Powers, who I happen to like, is completely outraged and indignant at Bill O'Reilly's position that President Obama has no right to tell schools that they have to allow transgender students the right to use whatever bathroom they want. Now, this is the issue, just in case you're not aware of it. I really need to give you the issue from the beginning. Transgender means a person, no matter what their biological body says what sex they are, says that in their own heart and in their own mind, they feel like they're something else. So we have mostly biologically males who think in their minds and in their emotions that they're women. And they want to use the women's bathrooms. That's the issue. I'm sure that there are some women who think that they're men and want to use the men's bathrooms, but I don't think that that's much of an issue. It's basically biological males that want to use the women's bathrooms. And it's a major issue in the country, maybe in the world. But President Obama has sent out guidelines. What does that mean? If you don't do it, you lose federal funds. It's called coercion. It's thuggery. See? And it's very ungodly, and it's unconstitutional. See? To put that kind of a social experiment on our schools and on our children. Brethren, aside from the fact that there might be a molester, okay, that this might be an entranceway for a molester, not necessarily in school, or a child molester, or in public bathrooms, for a molester, a man who intends to molest women, to enter into the ladies' room, saying he's a transgender, and use that opportunity to take advantage of women in an exposed position. Okay. When it comes to children, brethren, I think it's very confusing to a child. It's very confusing to a little girl to go into a room, a bathroom, okay, and see a boy in there, and a boy in the shower next door to her. And he's only there because he doesn't believe he's a boy. There is a room for the girls and there is a room for the boys, but that boy, that biological boy, thinks he's a girl. Why does my 8-year-old, or my 6-year-old, or my 10-year-old, or my 12-year-old have to deal with that confusion? So that's the spirit that's in the world today, but in the country today. I'm dealing with this country right now that is trying to confuse our children. And as I've told you before, the spirit of Antichrist, which is the spirit of the beast, that's behind all of the confusion in the country today, all of the social confusion in the country today, is a spirit that wants to so pervert the human body that it will be ineligible to be occupied by the Lord Jesus Christ. And of course, within the Lord Jesus Christ brings to us Jehovah and Jehovah and Elohim and the Spirit of God from its highest position. The plan is for the spiritual life that created us to dwell inside of humanity. And the spirit of Antichrist is determined to so corrupt the physical body that the Spirit of God, in whatever form he's in, would not be willing to inhabit the humans. And then, well, what does that mean? If there are no humans on the earth that are habitable, the Spirit of God will, now this is the plan, it's not possible, okay? The Spirit of God will leave the planet Earth forever. And the evil forces that exist but are minimized when God is present will have a free reign to do whatever they want with the creation of God. It is very, very, very evil when you see it in the fullness. Okay? If you cannot see it in the fullness, you can just see it on a level of, I don't want my 8-year-old daughter subject to that, because I think it's 1/10 of 1% of the population that's transgender. It is, at the least it's sick, and at the worst it's evil. So thank God for Texas. The Attorney General of Texas has taken President Obama's to court, saying that it's illegal, and it is illegal. It's unconstitutional. President Obama is a lawbreaker, and you can only, you really can't blame him, because our government, our Congress has let him do whatever he wants and are complicit in all that he's doing. If you see a teenager out there wrecking cars and wrecking the houses of the people on the block, the parents are responsible. And the Congress, is responsible, and the Supreme Court is responsible, but mostly the Congress, because President Obama should have been impeached a long time ago. And the people that elected him for a second term are responsible. Well, the issue at hand is the image of the beast. Now, I think I mentioned this before, but I don't, if I have mentioned it on a formal message, I haven't done it very often. Listen, this is the problem that's in the country today, and this is the problem with the bestial mind, that appears through humans that then become the image that expresses that bestial mind, called the image of the beast in the book of Revelation. This is the problem. A normal, I'm sorry, brother, it's not a normal mind. And if I'm insulting you, I'm really sorry. It's not a normal mind. What is a normal mind? It's not a healthy mind. I would like to say that a normal mind is a healthy mind. What is a healthy mind? A mind that says, I don't agree with you. I think that you're wrong. I think that I'm right. This is why that I think that I'm right. Is there any way we can work this out? But that's not what the mind of the beast says. The mind of the beast says, your opinion is invalid. My opinion is the only opinion that's valid, and your opinion is not valid, doesn't even exist. I think the word that Bill uses is traditional families, children that are being raised traditionally, I think that's the word he used, to, if not something like it, are not comfortable with this. And Kirsten, she's just outraged. She wants him to define the word traditional. What is traditional? How is there anything other than me that is even worth mentioning? How do you negotiate? How do you compromise? How do you find a middle ground? How do you live with a beast that will accept nothing other than your total and complete submission to its will? That's what we're up against. And we're up against it in multiple areas. We're up against it in this country. I remember the first time I ever saw it was on Ted Kennedy. That evil mind. When I saw him castigate somebody who was sitting before the Congress, and they were being vetted for a high position. And I saw the way he talked down to him. That's the first time I ever noticed it. It's in the government. It's in the schools. It's in the people. It's in ISIS and all and every Arab that thinks like that, which are a large percentage of the Arabs. Okay. The Palestinians, with regard to Israel, they will accept nothing other than the complete destruction of a nation that exists with technology and big buildings and a couple of million people. They will accept nothing other than their complete annihilation. That's the mind of the beast. Unwilling to see the other side, unwilling to make any kind of reasonable compromise. Okay. And that's what I want to show you in Kirsten Power, someone that I like. But look at that, and brethren, this is the danger. We all need to understand that the mind of the beast, if you don't already recognize it, or if it's not already happening to you, is arising and appearing in your loved ones. Possibly your wife, possibly your husband, possibly your mother, your father, your children. If not there, in your children's school teacher, in your employer, in the news, in the world. If you don't want to get sucked into that, best you want, because, brethren, a restraint is coming. Nature will not tolerate, I'm sorry, I'm something in my arm this morning. Nature will not tolerate a mind like that. Nature will destroy that mind. See? Now, whether nature will destroy the individual person, or there will be a national or a global judgment such as the flood, there are different opinions about that. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I'm telling you that nature will not tolerate this bestial mind indefinitely. It will be defeated. And the image, the human, that is a vessel that reveals that mind, will be defeated. And that means destruction for that person. Some level of destruction. It could mean death. It doesn't have to mean death. But it has to be strong enough to stop it. It would be a severe judgment. So even if it's a national judgment or a global judgment, it's a judgment that's coming on also on an individual basis, because that mind is corrupt. That's a corrupt mind. Brethren, in Hitler's Germany, the mind that burned people in ovens is a corrupt mind. That's not a normal mind. It's not a healthy mind. And that corrupt, abominable behavior begins with a mind that says, your opinion doesn't even exist. What do you mean, a traditional family? Who's traditional? Your opinion has no value. You are ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about, and you don't even deserve for me to be having a conversation with you. Although Kristen did get up there, as O'Reilly says, and took the heat. But most people with that bestial mind, that's their position. How do I even talk to you? You're just ignorant, you're uneducated, you're not capable of voting and choosing your candidate. You're not capable of thinking, you're just a beast, and I'm up here somewhere, I'm the elite. And what makes you the elite? Well, you have an education. Well, I am not against education, but everything in the fallen world becomes better and better and better, and then it collapses and becomes evil. That's the state of the fallen man. these elitists are all elitists in their own mind because they're highly educated, and they're smart, and they think they're smarter than you are, and they think that because they're smarter than you are, they have a right to rule over you. But I have a flash for you. You may be smarter than me, but you don't have a right to rule over me. And you may have more education than I do, but you don't have a right to rule over me. And it doesn't mean that you're right. So, I don't want to turn this in. This is not my message for today. I'm just trying to keep you apprised of current events. Oh, there's something else I want to tell you. It's not really a part of this, but since this is a current event issue, I am so encouraged. I saw an advertisement on TV last night of a man saying, I do everything I can do that I'm capable of doing myself, I do it myself. Brethren, I am so fed up with advertisements that show the manhood of this country to be bumbling idiots that need to be ruled over by women. Not only that they need to be ruled over by women, but they're bumbling idiots. I am so fed up with that it discourages me from buying any product that has that kind of an advertisement. Well, I saw an advertisement last night saying that a man, does everything he can for himself that he can do. And there were some more words along those lines. And it was from Chrysler. The advertisement was by Chrysler. And I said, wow, the tide is turning. See, it started to turn with Trump. Well, it started to turn underground. When we first saw it in Trump, a man's man running for president. Not taking any garbage, but politically incorrect to the point that the establishment politicians never thought he could make it. He knows what he's doing. He's deliberately politically incorrect. And he's coming against everything wicked in this nation. And it's only the ignorant people that are against him. Everybody with a sound mind should be running after Donald Trump to support him if they would just understand what he's doing. I believe he's going to be the next president. Obviously, he's going to be the nominee. I think he's missing only 30 delegates at this point. Yeah. So he's... But just hypothetically, should he never become president, he has started something in this country. He has started a momentum in this country. He has started a bloodless rebellion against political correctness in this country that is not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Elizabeth Warren came against him and he called her, I heard him yesterday, he called her Pocahontas. Do you know who Elizabeth Warren is? She is a senator who tried to promote her political career by claiming that she was an American Indian. And it was proven that she has like 1/16 of American Indian blood and not even any significant amount of Indian blood. So he called her Pocahontas. No one else could get away with that. No other politician would get away with that. That's his style, and the people love it. And apparently he's not going to stop, even though he's meeting with the Republican establishment right now. They really have to make him the candidate. If they don't make him the candidate, there'll be an outright rebellion. It'll be the end of the Republican Party. He's probably going to come away with 1,400 delegates. Yeah. Unheard of. What he's doing is unheard of. To flout the will of the people like that. And I would like to mention this to you also that in Washington State voted, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I heard the governor of Washington State talk about what happened in Washington State. It was something similar to what happened in Colorado. In Colorado they had, and in Washington State, they had a state convention that elected delegates. The people, the politicians that go to the state convention elected the delegates. 44 delegates from Washington State, and I think 40 or maybe even 44 of them were Cruz delegates. So listen, the politicians of both Colorado and Washington State voted for the delegates that would go to the Republican State Convention. But Colorado canceled the primary so that the people could have nothing to say about it. Seattle did not cancel their primary, and Trump got, I think, 87% of the popular vote. And the governor was on TV saying the delegates, the 44 delegates, the whole 44 delegates would go to Trump because they would not flout the will of the people. Hallelujah. Brethren, there's change in the wind. There's change in the wind. I am so encouraged. I can't tell you, I'm encouraged, I'm happy, I'm filled with joy. I believe the program of God is going forward. Hopefully a revival is coming. It's going to come coincidentally with Trump's victory. It's all coming together. And also victory on personal levels. There's a spirit of victory that's starting to sweep the country, and it will sweep the world to throw the oppressor off. And I say that in Jesus' name. Okay, I would like you to see this exchange between O'Reilly and Kristen, and look at Kristen's face. Look at the, I mean, she's a lady. She's a lady. I've never said, one of the things I like about her, she's a lady from beginning to end. But look at her face. Look at the outrage and the indignation at what Bill is saying. It's not just a difference of opinion. She's outraged that he would be opposed to what President Obama has done. Now, there are multiple issues to what President Obama has done. He has opened the bathrooms in schools to any male that wants to enter into a female bathroom, okay? He has overreached his authority because that's under the state's purview. He has acted like a mafia thug, saying if you don't do what I want, I'm going to not take away your federal funds. Okay? So it's not even just one thing that Obama has done. And she cannot see any of that. All that she can see is that 1/10 of 1% of the population, of the male population, of the whole population, are males that think in their hearts that they're females, and they're embarrassed to go into a male bathroom. That's what she believes. And to deny them this privilege is, she's indignant. Oh, that she doesn't understand the tradition. She doesn't think there is a tradition. She doesn't understand the healthy, I'm sorry, she doesn't understand the healthy mind. She doesn't understand the mind that's across from her. She doesn't care about religious beliefs or parental rights. She doesn't care about anything out there. She doesn't care about the majority of the people. She cares about the rights of this 1/10 of 1%, which is a bizarre right. That's not a healthy mind. I don't care if she has 10 PhDs. I don't know who she is that they have her up there on Fox News. She has to have some accomplishment. I don't know who she is for them to have her up there. I don't care what she's accomplished in this world. I don't care what her education is. And this is not to pick on Kirsten. This is an example of the population, many of the population that are just like her. It's just so obvious in her. A nice person. I've never heard her say one word that offended me, even though she's on the liberal side. A lady to the get-go. And you look at this indignation on her face at someone who's standing up for people who just want to raise their children as healthy people, that I can't get away from the word normal, I'm sorry. Look at her outrage. It's not normal. See? It's not normal. That mindset is not normal. There's a difference between wrong and not normal. If you have a different opinion, I might say to you, I'm sorry, I think you're wrong. This is not wrong. This is not normal. Does anyone not understand what I just said? Let me just reiterate my complaints about this mindset, okay? They do not acknowledge any validity of the opinion on the other side. They don't acknowledge it as an opinion. They don't recognize the rights of the majority. Completely means nothing to them. What is she? The people mean nothing to them because they're just average, hardworking people, and she's amongst the elite. I'm going to have to look her up and see what what she did. Did she write a book? Is she a lawyer? She must be notable in some way that they have her on Fox News. So, even as nice as she is, as much as a lady as she has been on Fox News, I now see clearly that in her own mind she's a member of the elite, and that the peons, which are the rest of the population, just should go back to digging in the ground and leave the elites to run the world, because you're just ignorant folk. And now she may not be saying that, but that's what the attitude is. And if the people don't stand up and stop it, we'll be back in serfdom, okay? With the elite being very, very, very rich, and everybody else working their property and being dirt poor. That's what it's going to come to if we don't stop it. But it's stopping. I see a momentum that's turning, and I'm just very excited. And there have been riots outside of the Trump rallies, which I find, I don't think that it should be done, but if it is done, that's wonderful, because there are a lot of people that have been on the middle of the road. People are sleeping, brethren. They just work and raising their families and worrying about their kids going to college. People are waking up when they're seeing that rioting, and they're turning off on the Democrats, see? And they're turning on to Trump. Pocahontas, he's just amazing. Okay, like I said, I don't want to keep on going, so we're going to watch this video clip, and then we're going to go into today's message, which is Isaiah chapter 7. Okay, sister.
Just turn.
Yeah, please. Just turn. Wait, I didn't bring any glasses. Let's see. Okay, just tell me when to click start.
Okay, we're going.
Gendered restroom issue is beyond crazy. An editorial in Charlotte Observer says, quote, "The thought of male genitalia in a girl's locker room and vice versa might be distressing to some, but the battle for equality has always been, in part, about overcoming discomfort with blacks sharing facilities, with gays sharing marriage, then realizing it was not nearly so awful as some people imagined. So according to this loony newspaper, if you have a young daughter, you should be accepting of the fact that a transgendered boy could shower next to her after an athletic exposition. That is insane. The solution to the problem is simple and has been going on for decades: private installations for people who are transgender." Joins up in Washington, Kirsten Powers. So do you understand how crazy the Charlotte Observer is?
No, I don't.
You
actually,
don't?
I read the editorial.
Yes.
I didn't. Nothing about it seemed crazy to me.
All right, let me stop you, because what you just said, I can hear millions of Americans going, "What? Are you kidding me?" So you have an 11-year-old girl, all right, and she's a lacrosse player, a soccer player. Mm-hmm. She's in her locker room, all right, after the game or the practice. And here comes a boy who thinks or wants to be a girl, and they're in the shower, and they don't have, a lot of these places don't have stalls, shower stalls, it's just showers. And you say to a traditional, that's acceptable?
Well, what I would say is that, first of all, it's not a boy who wants to be a girl. It's a person who was born with male genitalia who experiences life as a woman or a female.
Oh, be that as it may. Be that as it may.
Well, no, it does make a difference, actually.
It doesn't make a difference in the locker room situation.
Let me finish what I'm saying. So the point is, first of all, unless they're gay, they're probably attracted to people of the opposite sex, meaning in this case they would be attracted to boys.
You're making it all about the transgendered person.
Not, but the point is, this person isn't attracted, most likely, unless they're gay.
It doesn't matter who they are or what they're attracted to.
You have to let me finish like one or two sentences, just so you can then respond to what I'm saying. It does matter, and then I would just ask you, would you say lesbians shouldn't be allowed to be in a locker room with females?
As long as they're biologically the same. But you, see, this is the big thing the big mistake. The transgendered person, very few of them, all right? And whatever their mental and emotional state is, I think should be respected. I don't have any problem with that. But where are the rights of the 90+%
Look, here's the thing. I would say,
Kids from traditional homes, where are
First of all,
their rights?
I don't like this idea of this traditional thing. I mean, I'm not a non-traditional person, and the fact that you're open and welcoming to other people does nothing to do with being traditional.
Open and
I
welcoming,
would say,
so they can be in the same
and
shower.
And here's the thing. First of all, they're not in your shower. They're in another shower next to you. But the point is, if you want to have a separate area for them in this sort of transitional period, I would understand that because it bothers some people. All I'm saying is, I don't think it should bother you. I don't think this person is not preying on your daughter. This person's not a pervert.
It's not
There's
a matter
nothing wrong
of
with
praying,
this person.
it's a matter of being appropriate. You see, glad you're coming on, and I'm glad you said what you said. I had to interrupt because I wanted to steer you into the rights of the mass of people, which are being violated by this insane program.
It's not insane.
Yes, designed to make Americans believe there is no difference in gender at all.
That's not what it's designed
Yes,
to do.
it is, of course.
No,
It's
it's not.
what
That's
the
just,
progressives want.
no, it's not.
They
And
wanted it
that's
from the
the
jump.
way people who oppose this want to frame it because they want to make it about that, but that's not what it's about.
I will tell you.
There
I
are
will tell
legitimately
you.
transgender people in this world, and that's not saying there's no difference between the
The
sexes.
transgendered person, okay,
Watch your face.
should be accommodated in a situation that they have privacy. Fine. But to impose, all right, this kind of a situation to young children who don't understand transgendered or anything else, to impose it, to the government impose it, is such a violation of parental rights, of children's rights, of everybody's rights. And Americans should get really angry about this.
Yeah, they should get really angry about the 0.1% people. I mean, this is literally, it's so crazy that you have turned this
To have
into
a
a national
major
issue.
newspaper
I mean, you know,
in a
I think,
capital
what is
city,
it,
it's not
all
a capital
transgender
city.
people are like 0.3% of the
Making
entire
it about the
population.
transgender person, it's
and
not
now,
about
and
them.
now transgender children, like what percentage is that? But this is a national crisis. We can't accommodate a few people. I really don't understand.
I know you
but
don't
I already
understand.
But I already said, if you want to have, as in a transitional period, a third place for them to go, that's fine.
That's the solution to the problem. But the fact that you don't
I think
understand,
that this is an overreaction.
the fact that you don't understand that traditional Americans, all right, trying to raise their children in a certain way, do not want that kind of an exposition in front of young children. The fact that you don't understand it, and the Charlotte Observer doesn't even think it's important.
What do you mean traditional? What does that mean? They're raising them in a traditional manner.
Traditional, taking it easy, not trying to social engineer sexuality until it's ready, until the child is emotionally ready. All of those things. Not the progressive agenda to wipe out gender, which is what we're trying to do. All right, well, we'll have a lot.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of My Pillow. My patented pill adjusts to your exact...
Okay. Brethren, I mean, this is just really sick. Do you listen to this beautiful woman's conversation? That she could not comprehend the issue. She could not comprehend that the majority of people do not want their biologically female children and he said some of the showers don't even have stalls. But even if you come out of the shower and there's a boy next to you, they don't want their children raised that way. She couldn't see, and she doesn't know what he's talking about. And all that she could focus on was the right of this 1/10 of 1%. But I want to tell you, if it was 50%, if it was 40% or 50% of the people, what about the rights of the people that don't want their children in that position? She could not recognize the rights of the people that have a different opinion. I'm telling you, brethren, if that isn't stopped, eventually it winds up killing those people. And they start with the retarded people, and they start with the crippled people, and they start with the veterans that, I think I fell asleep last night, but it was on the news, all of the senior citizen veterans that when they dug up that were not getting treated when they investigated and saw their files, they were marked dead. On the files, they were marked dead, and they weren't treating them. It's euthanasia.
Wow.
See? That's just the beginning. Then they don't like you, for whatever reason, they don't like you, and they kill you. Because your opinion or your significance is, it's not even that it's not important. Did you see it? It doesn't even exist. The rights of the people, it doesn't even matter that they're the majority of the people. Okay? The rights of the people, the desires of the parents to raise their children in a certain way, non-existent. Non-existent. And she actually said it at one point, that she didn't, I have to reiterate because I don't remember her exact words, that she wants people to change their mind. She wants people to think like she thinks. It's very frightening, brethren. It has to be stopped. It has to be stopped because they'll wind up, well, you saw what happened in Hitler's Germany. And not only Hitler's Germany, it happened in Bosnia, Croatia, that civil war over there. People put other nationalities in concentration camps or kill people. It's just inexplicable apart from a spiritual explanation. That there's a spirit that's inside of these people that affects the way that they think. It's a spirit manifesting as a mind inside of an image called human. And by God's standards, it's sick. And by God's standards, it's not normal. And by God's standards, it's evil. Because if you don't stop it, it destroys. And it's even destroying right as it is to tell people that they're invalid. Do you know what that does to people? To tell them that they're, well, unfortunately, we saw that in this country with black people, how they were told they're not valid, that they're only good to be slaves. It decimates you. It destroys you spiritually. That is the beast, the mind of the beast, speaking through a beautiful, intelligent, sophisticated, educated woman. Scary, brethren, absolutely scary. And if you don't get your mind straight, you are subject to be seduced by that. You have to find the mind of God on every issue. Don't agree with me. You have to find the mind of God. You have to pray for God's mind, because if you don't actively pray for God's mind, that's what you're going to wind up with. So, that's my exhortation for today. How long was it? Okay, let's just take it. I think it's at least half an hour.